Oh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us to have a peep inside a beehive. Today, I'm going to show you what's inside this beehive. So I will start to explain a bit what a beehive is. So it's a house for bees. There's the lid, and there's two boxes there. One will be for honey, and the other one will be for brood, for the bees to raise new bees. So I've got my smoker ready, and I've got my hive tool. I will put in my veil, and we'll have a look inside the beehive. If I can close it. Okay. You can see all the bees are on the fly board, and they've got the bottom up. So what are they doing? They're fanning, and they've got the gland there. There is a gland at the bottom called the Nasaroff gland, and this gland there, this gland emits a pheromone, which is a calling pheromone. The smell of this pheromone is similar to jasmine. So they're calling the other bees because I've been leaving the hive a bit open too long, so they're calling other bees inside the hive. So we'll start by smoking a bit the entrance to warn the bees I'm gonna open the hive, and I will remove the lid. This cover is called an inner lid, and it prevents the bees from escaping through the lid if we want to. So I will open this one, and we can see bees inside roaming on the frames. I will remove one of the frames, and I will show you what's in it. So in this frame, you've got only honey. The bees have made the wax with the hexagon cells, and they fill up with nectar from which they collect from trees, and then they, by ingesting the nectar or regurgitating the nectar into cells, they're making honey. This is capped honey, so it's ripe honey. This is uncapped honey, and you can see the bees, they are still making the honey by licking what's inside and regurgitating. So this frame is about 2.5 kilos. So there's about 2.5 kilos of honey on both sides. And you can see that on the camera, but I can tell you it's smelling good. I will put it back now and open another one to see if there is more. And you can see that there is more in this one. So this super is almost completely full of honey and will need to be harvested soon. Once almost 70% of all those frames are capped, so that means that the bees have put a pellicule of wax, a wax lid on top of the cell, it will be ready to harvest. All those bees are worker bees. They're all female. And they all come from a fertilized egg laid by the queen. So we'll put it back, and we will remove the super to have a look what's inside the brood box now. This is quite heavy, so I put it aside. And I'm removing what's called a queen excluder. So a queen excluder is like a mesh on which the size of the mesh is small enough to prevent the queen to come up inside the honey super. So she won't lay eggs inside. And this is a temperature probe to see the temperature inside the beehive remotely. Here we go. So I will lift a frame inside the brood box and we'll have a look of what's on this frame. Okay, so in this frame you can see two types of bees. There is in the beehive, there is 3 types of bees. We call it caste of bees. There's the drones. Here is a drone, which are the male. They come from unfertilized egg laid by the queen. All the others are female. They're workers. And we will be looking for the queen. But in this particular hive, the queen has gone because it has swarmed recently. How can I tell that? It's because I can see there queen cells. So those pyramid shape hanging down actually are queen cells. So they are queen in the making. At the moment, this hive is without a queen, but a new queen will raise soon from one of these cells. The first one who will hatch will kill the other, and then she will fly to get mated with as many drones as she can, probably 10 to 15 drones. And then she will come back inside the hive and lay eggs. In this frame, what we can see is that there is quite difference from the frames with honey. In this frame, it's mostly covered with what we call brood. And in this particular frame, it's capped brood. So all those cells, they are closed by a lid of wax, a melt of wax and silk. And inside there is a new bee coming. So maybe we can find other cells. In those ones, we can see drone cells, and just a male is about to hatch. So he's trying to escape this cell where he was for at least 3 weeks. And the workers are trying to help him getting out. I put this frame back inside the hive and we'll examine another one. Probably this one. So in this frame, we see drone cells. They are more rounded, they're bigger, and worker cells. They're smaller, and you can see they're flat. And here in the middle, you can see the light, the reflection of the sun in nectar. You've got a bit of honey on the corner. But because this particular hive has swarmed, the bees, normally it will be covered with eggs, but they're using those cells to put some nectar for the time being. The other size is almost the same. So this bee is getting out, slowly but surely. She will be very fluffy. And she's got a different color from the other bees. Maybe if we wait a bit longer, she will get out, but she's just about to get out of her cell. The third job in the beehive will be to clean the cell where she was born. There she is. Slowly, slowly, she's reaching out. Maybe we can help her a little bit, but she will be all right. And off she goes. So on this frame, I will move the bees out. On this frame, you can see the different color of pollen that they put inside the cells. So this pollen is orange, the next one is yellow, and normally they don't mix the color in the same cell, but they can put different cells with different origin of pollen. Pollen is the source of protein for bees, and nectar is the source of sugar. That means energy. A drone there. The drone have bigger eyes and they're bigger than the workers. They're quite different and they don't feed themselves. They have to be fed by the bees, by the workers. They're quite clumsy as well. The big eyes are there to spot the queen and to mate with the queen. Okay, so I put this frame back inside the hive. And maybe we can have a look at the frames right on the side. This frames doesn't contain any brood. It's full of honey, uncapped honey. So that's their personal. We don't harvest those frames inside the brood box. That's for the personal consumption of the bees. And we can see the beautiful hexagons of the bees. So they make the cells by themselves. And on this frame also we see those black coleopters. One just escaped, but they're called, yes, one. They're called small live beetle. They're parasite of the beehive. And there's not much we can do to remove them except trapping them or keeping a strong beehive. So I will put this frame back inside the hive and we will have a look in another hive, which is called a Nucleus Hive, and see if we can spot a queen and a bit more bees. Okay, so I'm just about to open a Nucleus Hive. So this Nucleus Hive is not a hive as such, it's just a hive that, a swarm that I caught several weeks ago. And I put it in this temporary box for the bees to build up. And we'll have a look if we can spot the queen. So I can't see the queen on this frame yet, but what I can see is a lot of eggs, actually. So she must have been there not long ago, because at the bottom of the cell I can see a lot of eggs. One egg at the bottom of each cell, which is good. That means that the population will build up in this hive. Where are you? Okay, we can see a bit more things on this one. So we've got caproot, but in between we've got larvae. Larvae are like maggots, but they're pearly white, and that's the first stage of the bees. So from an egg, the eggs will hatch in 3 days, and then it will transform in a small larvae. And the larvae, in about 10 days, will make a silk cap and will emerge as a bee in 21 days. Here's the queen. So the queen is on this frame there. She's bigger than the other one and she moves quicker. She's looking for a cell to lay an egg. You can see she's got a bigger abdomen, a pointy abdomen. She's probably not twice, but 1.5 the size of a worker bee in comparison. And you can see also that thorax there is quite black and without any hairs. In fact, a queen can live up to 5 years in the hive. Most of the time she can live up 3 years in Australia. As for the workers, they can live several weeks only. Okay, so I put a back inside. I will put the frame where she is back inside. She's at the moment right on top of the frame there, but she will go. Go back inside. So yes. So same as the other frames, honey, then pollen, then brood. That's a perfect frame. And there is eggs, young larvae, and brood about to hatch here.
You can share it now, Gloria.
So this brood will emerge in 10 days. Okay, so I would put back this frame inside the hive, and we will close it, and we'll close the hive and wait for few questions. That will be the end of what's inside the beehive.
Okay, can everyone, we just had to stop the video because someone was sharing the screen with us and mess with the film. I can answer a question. It was almost the end of the movie anyway. What I can do, I can answer some question. If you want to stop doing that, please. Thank you. And is there any question that I can answer? So if you want to...
I have some questions for you, Olivier. The first question is, can two queens live together in a hive?
Yes, they can for a short while. Most of the time, the older queen will leave the hive with a pack of bees. It's called a swarming, and the young queen will take over the hive. It has been seen in big hives that two queens can live together, but they've got their own place inside the hive, so they don't mix together. But it's very rare, and most of the time there is only one queen inside the hive at one moment.
The other question, how do bees create the hexagon cells?
That's a good question. Actually, they don't create hexagon by the shape of it. It's because they create a round cell, and because of the pressure of the whole of the other cell on the side, it will create an hexagonal shape because it's the perfect size. The round shape is the perfect size to have 6 other cells nearby, and those pressure will make an hexagon. So 6 sides of the cell.
What license or council permission is required to have a beehive when located in an urban context?
Well, it depends on the regulation. First, you have to be registered as a beekeeper. In New South Wales, it's compulsory through the DPI, Department of Primary Industry. That's the first step. And then within your council, there is probably some laws or bylaws allowing you to have a beehive. You'd need at least a garden, a small garden, or not fairly big, but 2 to 3 meters is big enough for the bees to raise, to take off, because they will fly. You don't control where they fly. So you have to be aware also that you've got neighbors, and you don't want to bother the neighbors, and you don't want to do nuisance. Probably the best answer if you want to have bees is first join a bee club and do some courses. Then you will see what's necessary to have a hive in your garden.
Thank you. What predators are of bees?
Yes, well, there is a few. First, birds are predatory of bees. Some birds will catch bees, and also some lizards, blue tongues, not in New South Wales yet, but in Queensland, it's definitely a pest for honeybees. But we don't have as many predators here. We've got pests of the beehive, and you have seen in the video that there was a small hive beetle. So it's a small coleopter. It arrived in Australia about 20 years ago, and actually the female, the coleopter will lay eggs inside the hive, and the larvae will feed on bee larvae. So they will eat the bee larvae, and we can consider that as a parasite and predator as well.
How do you take the honey from the hives?
And in the video, you've seen that there is a frame, and actually in Australia, it's compulsory. If you want to keep bees, it's compulsory to have framed, removable frames. So in the honey super, we take those frames off, and we put them in a spinner, which is called a centrifuge or extractor. And by gravity, the the honey will drop on the side, and this is how we extract. And basically, we just filter the honey and it's raw directly in a jar. So there's no other process of honey.
How do you join the bee club?
If you want to join the bee club, the best way to do it is to go on our website, which is called cinebeeclub.org.au. And it's probably the best way to do it. And then you can probably attend some conference we do online. And actually there is one the 25th of October. So if you want to register, that's fine, no problem. The best way is to go on the Sydney Bee Club website.
What are the requirements to keep native bees? Does the person need to register as a beekeeper and join a bee club?
No, there's no regulation regarding keeping stingless bees, actually. You can do it without registering, and but I strongly suggest that even so, you can join a bee club or a bee club for native bees, because it's quite important to have to gain the knowledge on, for instance, how to split a beehive, how to split a native beehive.
Is there a particular position that is best to put your beehive in your garden? Example, sunny position or sheltered position, facing certain direction?
Yes, well, bees, they prefer having the entrance facing the morning sun. So in Australia, that would be facing northwest in the morning. But actually, it's probably better to have a sunny position rather than a shady position, especially if it's quite humid. They don't like humidity, and they would prefer a most hotter position rather than a humid position. So full sun rather than shade if the shade is too humid.
Can you set up a beehive near the ocean where the air is salty?
Yes, you can, but I suggest you don't put the entrance directly on the facing the ocean because of the wind.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Because of the wind.
Thank you, Olivia. It's
Yeah.
now 2:29.
Yes, thank you, everyone. So we will wrap up this session for today. And if you want to ask more questions, you can join us on the 25th of October. We've got a meeting, Sydney Bee Club meeting, and it will be for probably new beekeepers, but everyone's welcome. So join us on the cinebeeclub.org.au and we can meet you there. Thank you for attending today, and I hope we will see us when we will resume some field days at the apiary in Randwick. Thank you everyone.
Bonjour Olivier.
Thank you.
Bonjour Fabienne.
Je n'avais pas pu poser de questions, désolée.
Thank you. We'll end this meeting now. You can, there's a survey a short survey that you will receive soon. And please fill it. And thank you again. And bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. And thank you, Randwick Council.
Merci Olivier.
Merci.
François qui est François.
Allez.
Merci Anna-Michel pour ton message.
OK.
C'est pas que ça. C'est fini là.
François.